Board. First order of business, we pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes, January 23rd. You guys had a chance to look those over?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes, January 25th meeting. The Modoc Road culvert replacement discussion.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys got it. Approval of the manifest. Manifest for February 5th through February 12th, 2024. Excuse me. Payroll, $31,812.41. Payroll liabilities, $9,813.62. Accounts payable, $49,689.60. And the elementary school, $250,000 for a total of $341,315.63.
Motion to accept the manifest.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those newer ones?
Yes.
Okay, public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to new business, town meeting rules procedure.
I'm trying to explain this if you like.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I'm
So-
still confused.
We, back in, I don't remember when it was,
It was-
earlier last year, we made the amendment to the rules of procedure to add the part about where you had to tell what you wanted to happen to the budget if there was a change to be suggested. I didn't get the chance to look back at the minutes, but I was under the impression that we made the change. So, George informed me that actually this is his document. He'd be willing to talk to us about making a change, but it's really for him to make the changes, not the Board of Selectmen. And so I just needed to bring that to your attention that I suggest we use the old version, not put this in the book, in the town report. So.
Yeah, I think it's something that,
And we could probably discuss it prior to town meeting with him, if he so chose to do it.
But,
Just to give us some guidance whether they want us to make the cut.
so it won't be in print in the
Right.
book, though.
Okay.
certainly it's something that we can readdress
Yeah,
maybe
and-
for next year.
And his email there, he said he's not, not willing to talk, he just needs to know that, he needs to be the one to say the change needs to be made.
Can I get him in here to talk in the near future?
Do you want me to see if he can come to the next meeting?
That'd be great. Won't be in print, but at least if we know he's on board. Don't know how on board he would be to amend it for this meeting if it's not in print, but
Could be mentioned,
yeah,
Yeah, I can do that.
thank you.
Okay, railway letter supporting for House Bill 1468-FN-A. And
So you were approached by several, the town of Ospey, Mark McConkey.
Mark McConkey reached out to me directly and asked us to draft this letter in support of use of the railway. They're basically looking to force that portion of DOT to create a master plan for use of the rail bed from Ospey to Conway. They've basically been stonewalling people or just not answering for quite some time now. There's been a few people that have tried. I know there's a guy that wants to do rail bikes in Silver Lake and he's not getting any responses. Well, I mean, we're losing out on some good recreation, I think, between those areas. I think any support they can get for the bill is a good idea.
Well, I mean, it's there and it should be able to be used.
Yeah.
I know the state sometimes moves slowly, but this is, extremely slow.
Can I make a comment on that? Recreational use, I think it's a great idea, and I did respond to Ospey through an email. With the past history of major fires, long ago in history, they've had fires here almost every year from railroad. So recreationally, I think it's a safer opportunity. If they put the railroad back through, there's serious concerns on the threats to the community from possible fires.
Right.
So I just want to bring that up, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think, the basis of it is they wanna force DOT to come up with a master plan for the rail corridor, focusing on recreation. There's some language in there that the recreation would cease if the railroad was ever to be put back into use, but I don't think that was the intent.
I'm fine with it.
I'm good with it also.
I'll just put it in your signature.
Schedule a public hearing per RSA 41:8-C. And I believe it's for this petition warrant article, which states, are you in favor of increasing the Board of Selectmen to 5 members? And
It has to be a ballot question.
Does.
yeah,
A ballot question, and you guys are responsible for holding a public hearing
right.
to discuss the proposed change in the size of the Board of Selectmen. So my thought is your next meeting.
The 20th? Okay. We'll set it and advertise it.
And you actually already have 2 public hearings that same day. They're gonna be quick ones. One's for fees.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is. But
So is
anyways,
there-
I had a 4:30, a 4:40, and this one can be at 4:50.
Okay. There is it a petition warrant article for the temporary permits parking? Is that
No, that doesn't require one.
okay?
I
Alright.
can't believe I can't remember what it is. I posted for, oh, Bob, can you look on the wall and see what I posted a public hearing for?
For which one?
For the
For
20th.
February 20th? Should be one for fees, and then there should be another one.
Let's see, recreation program fees and land use board application.
Yeah, and then there should be another posting there for another one the same day.
Closed.
No?
There will be.
Yeah.
Budget hearing. Joint loss.
No?
Oh, budgeting ordinance.
Oh, budgeting ordinance, right. You have to have a public hearing on the changes for that. So you've already got those. So this one I'll put in at 4:50
Sure.
on February 20th.
Okay, next on discussion items or new businesses, a request by Ron Force to be appointed to the veteran, how are they calling it, a Veteran Services Committee for the remainder of the 3-year term, 2 years that ends 2026.
So Gary Ben was on the committee. His schedule's just made it so that it's not working well for him to come. Sharon asked for us to appoint Ron. And my thought was that he would just finish out the term that you had given for Gary Ben.
Did you get a formal letter of resignation from Gary?
Not yet, but I talked to him on the phone and we were definitely on the same page today, and this came up. I didn't act on it fast enough, so I was under the gun to figure it out today.
Any discussion?
No, I'm fine.
I'm good with it.
You want the signature?
Yeah, do you wanna just make a quick motion just to
Yeah.
appoint him, and then
I'll make a motion
myself.
to appoint Ronald Force for the remaining 2 years of the 3-year term as a member of the Veteran Services Committee.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, old business. So, short-term rental, specifically, case 2310, the Gage property. In speaking to the town attorney, it has been determined that Mr. Gage has until January 12th. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, February 12th, to make his final appeal for, to make his request for an appeal, correct?
Right, to the Superior Court or the New Hampshire Housing Appeals Board.
After that, if nothing occurs before that date, then Bob Boyd has been directed to send a letter of fines to Mr. Gage, and then the town attorney will take it to court for enforcement.
Or your other option too is that you can go directly to court. You don't have to give them like a warning letter or.
Oh, no, no, it's just gonna be the fine, it's not gonna be any kind of warning, just to tell them what's coming.
Can
Sure.
I speak on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Paul McKenna.
Yeah.
After going to a ZBA meeting, their attorney, Attorney Bolt, told the people in question, and he told Mr. Gage, the question was asked if they still are advertising, would it be retroactive should they be denied? And Attorney Bolt said, proceed at your own risk, is what he told those people in general. So what he basically said was the fines could go back since when the process started.
Correct.
That's just a point of
No,
information.
that's fine, no, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
But that's where we are, and go ahead, I know you have something, go ahead.
Well, no, my whole, all right, as far as the, moving forward, okay? I know you guys are trying your best,
Right.
and we have given a lot of information, spending hours and hours, going all the way back to 1987 when zoning came into place. And, every time we say, let's move forward, and I understand, we get a little pushback. But there's one big thing that I think we're missing in all of this, my opinion, is that burden of proof, okay? If you go back to, I think it's 1.5, everything that's written is written for the common man. The interpretation, it goes back to when it was written and what it stood for. And what it comes down to, all this information is great, but the thing is, it comes down to, it's the property that gets to be a non-conforming use if it's been used prior to the zoning started, correct?
I believe you're correct.
All right, that has never changed. So, it would be very simple to get rid of and help the town not spend a lot of money on this whole thing by just going and saying, okay, if you have a tax record, that you have a property there prior to 87, and you also have a room and meals tax which was established in 1967, then, and you can prove that it was never abandoned for more than 1 year, that use, that it was used as a business on the property, then you get rid of all the other ones that started after that. Would make it so much easier. And if you just went that route, I know I'm changing this a little bit of where we've been coming from, but think about it, how easy is that? You just we have spent hours and hours and hours going all the way back to all the RSAs, all the ordinances. And we've given you cases, especially burden of proof, where in Derry, in Keene, and so forth and so on, the court has always favored what this town is trying to do. It all comes down to the ordinances, and we're very, very lucky in this town to have ordinances that were put in place at the right time that are stronger than anybody in the valley. And if we continue slowing this up, we're gonna be in a worse situation. It'll be like, you know, we could be the special town in the valley. We really
No, I
could.
understand.
I'm serious,
No,
I
I
don't
understand.
understand, I really don't. I would like to think that maybe you would look into that,
I will.
please.
Yeah, I will look into
Because
it.
it is the property. It doesn't matter who owns the property, it's the damn property that has to be proven that it was continued use from the beginning. Nothing else. And they would have to have a tax record, whether or not there's a property on it.
Right.
And they would have to have a room and meals tax for that particular thing, or whether it was a gas station, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. If it was a non-conforming use, it's the property, not the person that you're giving the okay to. Sorry.
No, no. you're
I know I get passionate
No,
with this,
that's-
but
I understand.
that's the way it is.
Yes,
You
Paul?
all set?
I'm done, sorry.
No, good, Paul.
Thank you for letting us speak.
It's okay.
I'd like to give you guys a copy of what I'd like to talk about. It's very brief. Thank you. The first thing I'd like to talk about is a follow-up to the last meeting on January 23rd. We already discussed case 2310, which is great. So that's off, that's done with for now. I gave you guys a copy of 11 last meeting new STRs. I submitted it to the board. I'd like to know if you did anything with it.
I don't think we've moved forward on those, no. We just,
Well,
Go
what
ahead.
is your plan for that?
well, as all along has been, our plan is to get something into court, get a decision from Superior, which may or may not be appealed to Supreme,
Hmm.
but
To get one case
to
moving?
get something moving where, not as a threat or not as a, I mean, but I think it may open the eyes of some property owners that this is going to move forward.
Well,
Yeah.
I love the idea.
We've got
But I
13
don't-
cases stacked up right now.
You don't,
Well,
but the
ZBA.
Can we
Yeah.
hold on for
The
a second?
ZBA does.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you have something like this that you wanna bring in for an agenda item, you've got to get it to Linda beforehand. I can't sit here and decipher everything you're looking for and answer questions flat-footed without time to read into what you're asking.
I
I
understand that.
understand you want it on the agenda every week or every 2 weeks, fine. But if there's something specific you wanna talk about or specific questions you want answered, they've got to come in beforehand. I personally, tonight, I'm not gonna answer any of your questions.
You never
I just
answered
won't.
any anyway.
I have.
Okay,
I've
well,
answered
let me go
plenty of them,
for-
but
let's
I
have a
don't think we
conversation
should
here.
either.
Let's have a conversation.
No,
The first 4 things that I listed were from last meeting, so it shouldn't be a surprise to you, okay? I never got any answers to any of those. All you guys did was listen. Nobody commented. So now, it's 2 weeks later. You have had enough time to talk about it, discuss it. I'm looking for answers for that.
You can't talk about it and discuss it.
Why not,
This
Linda?
is the only place we can talk about it and discuss it.
We can't talk about it upstairs. It has to be a designated meeting that is being recorded.
So how do you guys conduct business if you're in the middle of something and it hasn't been completed?
As individuals, you know, we get a package of what is going to be coming up for the meeting, which is why there is the filing time for things to be presented to us. So at least each member separately can brief themselves on what is going to happen or what is going to be asked. And I understand that the first couple were from the last meeting
They
during
were
the
all
election.
from the last meeting, so they should, in my opinion, we should be able to discuss them now because they're not new topics. I asked every single one of those things last meeting.
Well, like I say, the 11 are the 11 new ones that you submitted are basically on hold until we can get something pushed through. Bob's letter and the attorney and then to the court for the fine.
Okay, all right, thank you for giving me an answer to that. And on the next one, I submitted a file on 3 Upper Lakeview Drive, okay? That has just turned over. There's a new owner there. I talked to the new owner. I told you this last meeting, he's a real estate agent. He's gonna open it up as an STR. I honestly feel if things were followed through with the last owner, and he had 2 letters that he completely ignored, that this guy might not be able to do it.
He didn't ignore them, he went to the ZBA, he's currently at the ZBA, that case is before the ZBA.
Which one, Linda?
3.
3 Upper Lakeview Drive.
He's on the ZBA.
I believe so.
I disagree and I stand to be corrected. Okay, like I said, I stand to be corrected. Okay, 3 Upper Lakeview Drive. And so I feel as though if that was followed through, we're losing ground here is my point, guys, okay? This has happened, there's 3 other houses in Idlewild that I know about that have turned over, and there's nothing in place to stop new ones from opening. So that's, you know, I'd really appreciate it if you looked at the file I gave Linda, and what I'm asking the board to do is send a letter of information to this new owner stating that it has lost its non-conforming use because in the file I gave Linda, I got a copy, I got a thing signed by a lady who lived there, my neighbor, from 2002 to 2014. She did not rent it at all. And then I got copies from abutters. I have lived there since '88. It hasn't been an ST, and it's had tons of problems. The chief could tell you that. I got 2 reports from the police. The chief sent out a letter, and now this guy's being able to open up again. And it can happen again and again and again. So we're losing ground is my point. Thank you. I appreciate you listening to me. The other thing that I'd really like to see is one of you selectmen be designated to spearhead this issue, because it's not going anywhere. While you're not going forward with the more than the 50, there are other things that you can put together, a flow chart of how this town should work in writing as to A goes to B, and if B doesn't happen, C might happen. Where's the plan? This has been going on for 3 years. You guys can go to your lawyer, who is the best lawyer that you could hire for STRs. He can jot that down for you in a heartbeat. This should be out. The other boards in this town don't know what to do because they're not getting the guidance from you guys. You're the executive board.
False. Planning
No?
board knows exactly what we're doing.
They do?
ask me every time I go.
I haven't seen you at a ZBA meeting.
You won't see a selectmen's rep at a ZBA meeting
I saw John there.
as a member of the public.
Wait. You can't go as a member of the public?
No.
Okay, thank you. So is there anybody can we select a guy? For instance, Adam, you do the recreation department. You've done a wonderful job with that. It's essential to this town, okay? It is so important that children of this town, I was an educator for 5 years. You've grabbed hold of that. You've done a wonderful job. It's working. John has done the budget. He goes over that with a fine-tooth comb. We don't hear anybody who's spearheading this thing, who we can maybe email through Linda or something like that to try to find out something. How does that work? How does that chain work?
Well, you can always email Linda. We do not have, there is no STR committee. to
That's
speak
something I wanted to get to. I wanted to see if we could put together a tracking committee to work with somebody who's designated from this board. Is that possible?
I'm not sure before town meeting, but it could be something, there's elections coming up, it may be a different board here.
Is there something that we could put together like a steering committee where hypothetically, I don't know, all right? Hypothetically, Nick and I could meet with, let's say you, John, every Tuesday. It could be open to the public at 7 o'clock, whatever was good for you, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so that we can come up with ideas and find out what's going on. Because I'll tell you something, now with the ZBA involved, it's 10 weeks before we hear something. They've had a holdup that isn't their fault, okay? And then they're waiting, you're waiting for them. So we can ask a simple question here, and then 10 weeks later, we still don't have an answer. So what I'm trying to say is if we can get a chain of communication going, it can help push the rest of this forward to be able to hit the ground running. I mean, you guys are busy, but you know, this is a big, big item that's not being taken care of. So
There was a request.
please
to start a
consider if we
subcommittee.
can do that.
That was a couple of years ago, right, when it first started. Okay.
Thank you very much for listening to
No.
me. I'm sorry I was so winded.
No, that's okay. Well,
But as you know, we've put a lot of time into
No,
this.
you
We
bet.
went before the House of Representatives, and we spoke on Bill 249.
Okay.
Which I,
No, I understand.
thank you.
Building permit ordinance. We've been discussing this, Bob, you have,
That front page is some thoughts on getting rid of that section for substantial improvement.
this here? Okay. Substantial improvement, it's been suggested that that be removed from the ordinance of building and mechanical permits. And I think you have some thoughts or ideas about
Right.
the downfalls or pitfalls.
Well, I've got several concerns with it, that come from the code enforcement and safety issues mostly, not so much the assessing, some of that. If you remove the requirement for permits for these types of projects, which typically this might be a non-footprint change type project, remodeling, renovating, things like that. I should start with the permit application process is an educational process as well. So if somebody's applying for a permit, then they get to know what the requirements are, what the town ordinance requirements are, maybe some of the state requirements are. It's an educational process to start with. I do have some concerns for, as I said, from code and safety issues. So, for example, if we didn't require a permit for non-footprint change projects, say they're remodeling, somebody's gonna add a bedroom, bathrooms, whatever it may be. In the case of a bedroom, if a bedroom is added to a house, there are safety requirements that go along with codes for that, such as proper egress window size. If we don't know about it and there's no inspection of this project, somebody might put windows in that aren't adequate.
Correct.
And should there be a fire, somebody can't get out, whatever it may be, something happens, there will be investigations by insurance companies, there may be lawsuits, and all they have to do is find that the codes weren't complied with.
Right.
Next thing you know, the insurance company doesn't cover it, and maybe the lawsuit is won against the homeowner because they didn't have egress windows per se. There may be some other issues. Smoke detectors. So again, if somebody puts in a bedroom, and in the codes, it requires a smoke detector inside the bedroom, and also a smoke and a carbon monoxide detector immediately outside. All smoke detectors and CO detectors in the house have to intercommunicate, which means if one goes off in the basement,
Right, they all go.
all the others go off the entire house as well. Again, if you don't have an inspection, if you don't have a permit issue, we don't know what happened, they don't put those smoke and CO detectors in, another life safety issue comes up. Arc fault, circuit interrupters, same type of thing, those are spark detectors basically in a circuit. They'll kill the circuit if they find there's a spark, and that's a fire protection issue. Additional bedrooms, may lead to upgrades in septic systems. So if somebody has a septic system that's for a two-bedroom house, it's a two-bedroom septic system, now they add a third, maybe a fourth bedroom. There's nobody there saying, oh, by the way, you need to upgrade your septic, or at least get a septic designer to come in and evaluate your current system to see if it's adequate. And that could lead to issues. Assessment issues. So if you add bedrooms or do something with your house that increases the value of that house, it's not that the town's looking to generate tax revenue, but it does add to the assessed value or the market value of the house. If you compare existing houses, say you have a two-bedroom house, and people own that, they're paying so much tax on it, that's great. The neighbors all of a sudden have 4 bedrooms, maybe it's a two-bedroom house first. The people that have the two-bedroom house are paying that tax for the two-bedroom. Now the people that have the 4-bedroom house, which is a much higher market value, maybe assessed value, they're still paying taxes on a two-bedroom house because nobody knows they've increased it. Maybe they add siding that spruces things up, whatever it may be. So it could have some assessment issues. Another safety concern would be stairs. So if somebody adds stairs or modifies their stairs, you know, they have to be at least 36 inches wide. They don't know that unless somebody comes in and inspects and talks about codes. The riser height, the tread width have to be certain sizes. Railings are required. Again, it's fall safety. So if somebody puts stairs in and they don't know about railings, they don't know about handrails, now somebody takes a fall, you know, same issue with the insurance companies and the lawsuits. If they've got somebody coming out to inspect, then the code enforcement person can say, hey, by the way, you need these railings, they have to be a certain size and height and blah, blah. Windows along stairs, if somebody decides to put stairs in next to the window, and it's not tempered glass, it doesn't meet code standards, now you get another life safety issue with that. Bathrooms, kitchens, laundry rooms, those are added without ground fault protection. Ground fault kills the circuit if it detects water. You could have an electrocution hazard. So those are required. And some of these, you know, we've talked about, some of these could be addressed with electrical permits, because anytime anybody adds wiring, plumbing, or gas piping, you need a permit for each of those. So those inspections could take place. But if we don't know there's a project going on, if they don't come for a building permit, they might not know they have to come for an electrical permit, and these things get put in without the safety requirements. Additions would need a permit through a footprint change. They definitely would need one. And if you look at the existing building permit pages, it says start of construction definition. The way that reads is for the first placement of buildings. And we had talked about why substantial improvement would have to come in for an addition. Well, start of construction, if you argue the legal terms on that and you wordsmith it, it really reads as if you have a vacant lot, now you're putting the first structure on it, that comes under start of construction. If you add an addition to an existing structure, that's no longer the first construction of a building or something on the lot. Now it's an addition to what's already there. So I think that's where I was coming from on that. So it really would apply to additions as well, not just no footprint change. So those are just a few examples. I mean, you can go on and on going down through the codes, but it's really, if you get the permit, then you get the education with it, you get the inspections with it. If someone wants to do some electrical, plumbing, or gas in a house that they already currently live in as their primary dwelling, they can do that work, still has to meet code requirements, and they still now have to get permits for that work. But if it's somebody doing this, and they think, well, I don't need a permit because it's non-footprint change especially, they might also assume they can just do the electrical, plumbing, and gas. And now we're back into safety issues again. So I did have at the bottom, is right now, the only exceptions to getting a building permit are for painting projects and replacing carpeting. So I do have a list, short list at the bottom that we may want to consider adding a few things to that. Cabinets and countertops. Replacing those really isn't a safety issue by code, but it could be an assessing issue. Because if you improve it,
Upgrade
put
your-
much more expensive things in there, your assessed value may go up, so the town may wanna look at that. Another thing I had put in, so if somebody had water damage, and the sheetrock in the walls and the ceilings and all that got destroyed, and they just wanna replace as it was, same materials, maybe we should consider no permit for that. So that's a suggestion.
Well, I like the exemptions that you have listed here. Gentlemen, discussion? Does it answer, or does it just make more questions?
Yeah. So we're looking to replace section D with the above, is that the plan?
Well, my
No.
suggestion at the last meeting was to get rid of section D.
These
We
are,
wanted Bob's opinion.
these are Bob's reasons for not getting rid of section D.
I understand Bob's concerns. For me, a lot of them, not to denote anything Bob said, but a lot of them are government babysitting, but I get it. Some of them are serious and others are.
If I remember, Adam, was it the contractor's rate that was a rep?
Yeah, I mean, the example that I gave Bob earlier when we had the discussion is that, say for instance, replacing your decking.
Right.
The deck already existed, all I'm doing is replacing the decking or even replacing the joist, but it's the same footprint. It just seems to me something like that shouldn't require a permit. There's a lot more at play, obviously, which is why Bob reviewed it in depth.
Yeah, I agree with that example, and I talked about it, just replacing decking, especially if you're doing like materials, that's not really a safety issue. The point that Adam brought up that discussion though is if you go from pressure treated to composite, the value has certainly gone up. Is that something the town wants to look at, keeping that in there from an assessing standpoint or not? Structurally, code-wise, not a big deal on my end of that.
For me, I hate to nitpick people about assessing either, I don't,
Right.
and we're not trying to, we're not running a business. We are, but I don't.
I have, from a personal standpoint, I agree with all the safety issues. Firsthand, I know about buying a house that someone did his own electrical work, and it sucked, in a word. And I'm still straightening it out. 20 years later, I got 2 panels, nothing marked. I got wires that just run nowhere. So every time we do something, it's, well, let's rip that room out and find out where all the wiring goes. That was done by the owner of the property, and I guess that was legal, I guess, at one time. That an owner can do his own electrical work. Well, I don't care if they do, but you gotta do it to code.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's my personal feeling, and I have a house that was poorly wired at best. And I would not wanna turn that house over to someone else without straightening that mess out. So, I mean, that's where I'm coming from, so some of this I've gotta. Anyhow, that's my take.
I feel your pain, my house is the same way.
Yeah,
Every time I have to open something up, I look, is it really?
Pandora's box.
My house was built in
Yeah.
the 80s, I
Yeah.
bought it in the 90s.
piece of advice, when you're buying a house, move the furniture. Because it hides all the bad outlets.
Yeah.
Well,
So, where do we stand with that now?
we still have some time because this is gonna be up either way.
It's on the warrant, yeah.
it's already there, but we have time to change the verbiage still.
Okay.
I think you can still make some changes at the February 20th after that.
After that,
Yeah,
no,
there's-
I just,
'cause it's gotta be published.
well, after Bob's explanation, I don't wanna get rid of it. But I wouldn't be opposed to increasing that to 5,000. Do you think that's out of the realm of,
What do we got left,
I-
three?
I don't really have a preference as far as dollar amount goes.
I don't wanna go too high because you run into the same issues, but I also don't wanna stay so low that we're hindering people either.
Right. It makes it difficult, so, for me anyways, with the $1,000 limit, that's pretty simple.
Yeah,
I can go in and say, I know this is well over $1,000, and people will say, oh, no, it's not that much. Well, just based on my experience in the cost of materials, I know it is most of the time. $3,000, yeah, still reasonable as far as estimating it goes. If we raise it too high, it might be very difficult for me to be able to say, you know, somebody's kind of trying to pull the wool over my eyes or they're legitimate. I don't really have any heartburn over the dollar amount one way or the other. I'm concerned about the safety. I just wanna make sure that, you know, we're getting a chance to have things looked at and hopefully keeping people safer, because it's not just the people that live there, it's the people coming after them. Or in a case where somebody's renting legally, hopefully, you wanna make sure those people who are renting the property thinking that it's safe, that it is, or as safe as anybody can tell.
All right, well, we can work on the wordage.
yeah, I think, I mean, I would like to leave it in place with $5,000 and then just spend the next 2 weeks coming up with I don't wanna give them a long list of exemptions either, because we talked about that, and that just creates more burden. But coming up with a short list of exemptions that we could place on there that wouldn't create havoc.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move it to the 20th. All right, review of the 2024 warrant. I think we've read this a few times.
There's a couple of articles that you've gotta take a good look at.
Okay. No, Bill.
That's one of them, but Article 8 is the one that I really need some guidance on.
Oh, let's go right to that.
That's the one for the truck.
Okay,
So
so we're gonna skip to Article 8, since that needs the verbiage needs to be,
the verbiage has been written by Cordell.
the numbers have to.
So, but the numbers that are put in there are reflected on your tax exempt leasing quote for a 5-year and a 7-year lease for payment. So that's, you've got to decide how many years you would like this to go out. But basically, the truck, I have it at $225, I think it's $223 and change, but $225, $50,000 from the expendable trust fund, and $40,000 for the trade.
Wow.
You'd be financing $135. And your $40,000 would be your payment, your first year
First year.
payment, so it wouldn't impact the warrants that, for the first year, but the main thing after that is what you'd like to do for
Years.
years.
What does 5 years come in? Oh, it's in here, right?
Yeah. 5 years, the payment would be $31,996 per year. 7 years, $24,131 per year.
Dad?
I'm inclined to go with 31.9.
Yeah, I'm in favor of a 5-year deal.
Well, we certainly retain much more of its value at 5 years than at 7 years. Dave? Correct? If we went 5 years, on the police?
Yeah, it'll still be under warranty. And,
Great.
I was looking for the warranty. Is it in?
I was just looking for it too in the truck specs. You know, 10 pages. It's
Yeah, I only printed the first page with
Oh,
the
okay.
price on
All
it
right,
because it was
all right.
19 pages.
So the warranty is how long?
My understanding is 7 years, 400,000 miles. So we hit the 7-year mark. So in talking with Troy at ATG, a truck like this, if the town were to trade it out, it would still be worth, with the mileage we're gonna be putting on it, it would still be a good trade-in 10 years from now. And that might be when you'd wanna think about replacing it. These trucks go 1,000,000 miles if they're maintained properly. Well, that's gonna put 1,000,000 miles on it. And I'm doing 25, 30 a year. So, but you could, in my mind, I was thinking 10 years out, start looking at a new one. It's gonna take you a couple of years to get one. So you put 12 years on a truck like this.
So it's roughly almost an $8,000 a year difference from 5 to 7.
In comparison, you know, with
7,000.
the dump trucks and the plow trucks, I would suggest 7-year turnaround on those. While they're still worth something and trading up, trade that in or sell it or whatever you're gonna do, keep those trucks under warranty, which is what other towns do as well.
I'm pretty shocked at the trade on the trash truck. You must have got that guy,
I
must have got him on a good day. Take him to lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty happy about that, but
Well, we
it's
got another
bittersweet.
5 year?
I would prefer 5,
Yeah.
especially if we can hold on to the truck for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your numbers to put in. Okay, John. There's some good news in here.
There is good news in here. It's amazing what we can do. We'll do the operating budget and the drawdown. If there's any changes or questions, we can stop and take a look at it. Proposed for 2024, ambulance, $133,444. It's gone up based on, Mike's not here, but it's based on our allocate, how many calls per town, what our percentage is. Changes how much we pay. Apparently, we had a pretty busy year. Animal pest control, 2,500. Well, I should probably give you percentages. We back up. Ambulance is up 23.9%. And for those out there that think that we can do it ourselves, there's not a chance we can do it ourselves. It'd be over $1 million. Animal pest control, $2,500, up 8.7%. Assessing, $36,200, up 8.6%. Building inspection, $53,950, up 5.3%. Conservation, $46.50, up 5.7%. DPW administration, which is payroll, $556,400, 3.9% increase. DPW highway, it's your road line, $253,750, down 4.4%. DPW Parks and Rec, $20,050, up 22.6%. DPW solid waste disposal, $134,501, down 10%, and we contributed about $79,000 to the bottom line.
John, the increase on the Parks and Rec line is for the raft at the lake, right? Or
Yeah.
the dock?
Yeah, new dock.
Okay.
DPW, all accounts, $964,701, down 0.2%. Direct assistance, 9,600, up 17.8%. Election and vital statistics, $11,650, up 33.1%. Has to do with the elections this year. Emergency management, 9701, up 29.2%. Most of that's maintenance on the generators. Executive line, $177,070, up 13.8. Financial administration, $170,329, up 2% even. Fire and rescue, $165,900, down 0.6%. General government buildings, $178,200, up 4.7%. General government equipment, $13,600, up 9.7%. Insurance, $133,451, 16.8% increase. Tax anticipation notes, $1. Legal line, $28,800, up 66.5. Library, $106,607, up 4.4. Madison Peg TV, $47,500, up 2%.
Still haven't got the check, so that number may change. Well, will change.
When you get the check. Notes due, $121,992, down 9.7%. Patriotic purposes, $8,200, up 48.4. Personnel administration, $581,542, down 1.5%. Planning board, $9,350, down 1.1%. Police, $360,000 even, down 2%. Rec department, $35,000.
Oh, 66.
No, 66.
I'm sorry, 66, it's up 35. 66,000, boy, I'm losing it. Up 112,000, 112%. Street lighting, $3,900, no increase. Linda, do you know if that street light that's at the transfer station on a pole belongs to Eversource or if it belongs to us?
I don't know.
Because it doesn't work.
Which one?
Right down by the recycling compactor. It's up on the pole.
I think it belongs to us.
Imagine it will cost.
The only thing we had on Eversource was on the roads.
Yeah. So we may want to,
Buy one.
yeah, put a light up. We'll figure it out. Maybe we could have Eversource just go put one there. And we'll pay another whatever it is a month for a light. That way they maintain it forever. Zoning board, $11,650, up 22.8%. Total operating budget, $3,410,088, an increase of $115,860, or 3.5%. Now, do we want to do the written warrant, or do we want to do the summary, guys? do this somewhere. Okay, so we've done the general government budget, public works, public safety. Line item number 7, street paving and road improvements, $250,000.
There was some detail on that you guys have in your books if you wanted to.
What's that?
There was some detail on Article 7 that Josh put together for you if you were interested in explanation.
Here's a map.
Put a map
Oh,
on
that's
it.
for,
The Enfield Road.
So for $250,000, we are going to raise and appropriate the sum of $250 for paving and improvements on town roads, including but not limited to Mooney Hill Road, Allard Hill Road, East Madison Road. Be a non-lapsing article. We're gonna reclaim, fine grade and compact with water approximately 1 mile Mooney Hill Road, then repave the same with 3/4 inch winter binder, $200,000. Replace 5 culverts on Mooney Hill Road, $9,000. We doing that in-house?
yeah, we
Culvert.
do that work in-house, but that's the cost of the culverts. Approximately.
Repave sections of washed out pavement from last summer's storms on Allen Hill Road, East Madison Road, $18,600. Shoulder all the above roads, $12,000. Crushing gravel for the above roads, $11,000. $250,000. Line number 8, DPW waste truck has no impact on this year's taxes. The first payment will be due a year from this March. Well, that's just good news. Modoc Hill Road repair originally was looking at something in the order of $200,000. But we're looking at Article,
I did some detail.
Yep.
on
yeah,
that too.
the detail is Article 9. See if the town will raise and appropriate a sum of $200,000 to repair Modoc Hill Road. That's got washed out this last summer. Losing my voice. We have a choice of 2 culverts, 48 inch by 60, is that 60 feet?
Yep.
Metal culverts supplied and installed and restored with a boulder head wall system. 2 culverts side by side, $45,000. Or we can do 1 72-inch by 60 feet long corrugated metal pipe, supplied and installed and restored with a boulder head wall for $40,000. So I guess the decision the board has to make is, do we go with 2 slightly smaller ones or 1 larger? That's our call, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the larger the 6-foot culvert, it takes on more water than 2 40-inch. Or more volume.
My concern was that 2 separate ones that could gather up some tree stumps.
So that's exactly it. But also on there too, just according to our purchasing policy, we did have to get 3 bids on that. So I do have word out to Burnham Company, Rock, and
Rotten Rock
oh,
House.
and our Howard. Yeah, they're gonna give us some prices too.
So that comes to 45, wait a minute, you look 45 and we're looking at,
Should be 40.
we're looking at 40. So we'll just keep that in the back of our heads, that's 40,000.
Yeah, I had her put 45 in just so we could see the percentage. I hadn't looked at the lower number yet.
Article number 10, new ballot counting device, $7,000. There happens to be a petition warrant article in here to do away with voting machines. Just, so I don't know how that's gonna work as far as placement. We could be buying one up here and not using it down here. I don't know. Highway heavy equipment ETF, $10,000. We have a current balance of 13,700. Transfer station capital projects ETF, 15,000. We've got a balance of 81,300, but we're going to be taking 50 out for the truck.
roughly.
That's what you guys are saying.
Assessing ETF, $10,000, we have a balance presently of 105. Historical Society ETF, 10,000, we now have a current balance of 20,000. Has to do roof repair and window repair. I'll leave that alone. Silver Lake Dam Improvement ETF, $10,000, we have a $19,000 balance, $19,250 balance. We're gonna need substantially more than, in the coming years, I guess this project's a couple of years out. We're gonna have to get serious with how much money. Conservation, CRF, $5,000. They have a $59,691 balance. Create a groundwater remediation ETF, $35,000 first time. Hopefully we don't need it. Madison PEG TV surplus to ETF, $9,896. Their balance right now is $43,370. That comes from franchise fees. Article 19, there's no money involved in it.
Right.
You're looking to withdraw some money, you want to withdraw $10,000 from the forest maintenance account.
You'll still make a recommendation,
Right.
What's that?
you'll still make a recommendation to use the 10,000, though it's not gonna be a new expense, appropriation.
So we have to vote on it, the
You'll
selectmen
still
vote?
make a recommendation on that one, yeah, because it does have money in it. Even though it's just
Okay,
the authority to take it from somewhere.
we can do that at the public hearing.
Yes.
I'll mention 20, there's no money involved. Change land designation to conservation map 116 lot 23. That's the one by Davis Pond.
Yes.
Amending the budgeting ordinance. Amending the building permit ordinance. Accepting of a deed to accept the roads at Banfield Hollow. There's a map in here showing the roads. Not a lot of road, as far as miles.
They put this together to kind of give an idea of what it would cost, Josh and Dylan did it. The estimates that came up was $200 at the end of the storm, about for cleanup, between machine and operator and all that, and then materials. And for every 2 inches, it's about $100 in cost. So a 2-inch storm would be $300 as an estimate for how much would be spent. It's not something that comes up in terms of being able to vote on it as a money article, but those numbers are estimates that they came up with to show that there is a cost to it.
There is a cost.
We got a call today from the owners of, or folks that put out a petition, and they had a number too, that what they thought it would cost us to, they wouldn't share it with us, they wanted to know our number. They wouldn't share it with them. So,
In Wapoka?
yeah.
Article 24, Creative Veterans Monument ETF, $2,500. Item number 25, having well, I don't know if it's selectmen, is it selectmen meetings no earlier than 6, or all meetings no earlier than 6?
On all, I believe it's this.
Yeah, board, it says all board and committee meetings.
Yeah.
Item number 26, guest passes at the foot of the lake. When do we get to discuss that?
At the meeting.
At town meeting.
At the budget hearing?
No,
No,
at the
at town meeting.
At town meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, wait till that. It'll be a nightmare. Adoption of RSA 79F.
And those last two were approved by the supervisor. I didn't get that note in there.
And what is that?
That's Julie Shields came before you guys asking
Oh,
about
the
farm.
barns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
barns.
farm and barns,
Okay, I didn't
yeah.
recognize the RSA. Number 28, hand counting ballots only. We'll be doing away with electronic counting. 27, Gibson Center Meals on Wheels by petition, $5,500, same as last year. Starting Point by petition, 5421. Down a little bit from last year, 5675 last year. Tri-County Community Action, 5771, same as last year. Children Unlimited, $3,100, same as last year. White Mountain Community Health Center, $6,512. Down from last year by almost $1,000, $7,532.
Wasn't there
There was
like
one
at the
more.
weigh station?
They never submitted anything. They gave us their intention, but never submitted anything.
Who was that?
Way
Way
station.
station?
Oh,
So
yeah.
homeless assistance.
So, the entire warrant, and the only change we're gonna make is, MoDOT, we had 200,000 plugged in, and then we plugged in 45,000, we're now gonna plug in 40,000. But with the $45,000 number, Adam came up with a number of, a difference of $4,718 more, but the percentage is 0.12. So,
Not much of an increase over last year.
what's that?
Not much of an increase over last year.
No, almost nothing.
You good?
I'm done.
You already did the Deerfield Hollow.
That was just part of it.
Okay, Adam, you have a list?
Just one thing, kind of came about this afternoon, actually. I've been in touch with some of the softball guys, and I'm gonna work with Mr. Brooks, and as long as you guys are okay with it, we'll use volunteers to recut the infield over here.
Great idea.
We need to put in 70-foot bases for Cal Ripken, but I think it sounds like all the softball guys are on board with coming and helping us doing it. It's a volunteer project, so
Can you make them shorter for me?
we'll still have the 60-footer stakes in there,
Not
but
even.
70-foot stakes as well. Now, I'd like to cut the top field too, but I might be asking for too much. Who knows? We don't need to do anything with the bases up there necessarily, but it does need to be clean.
One at a time.
Yeah.
I actually do have an item.
Oh, I'm getting to you.
Oh, okay.
I know, I'm waiting for it to fall out of your book here. John, your list.
No, not even in the book.
No, otherwise I'm good. If you guys are okay with that, I'll
Oh, yeah.
push on.
Yeah.
John, you're up.
Just one thing, I happened to pick up on social media, which I sometimes detest, but anyhow, I happened to pick it up. There seems to be a move afoot to save the old schoolhouse, but yet there's a warrant article to surplus it. So I'm a little confused. Do they want to save it, or do they not want to save it? And it sounds like the Historical Society is getting behind saving it. Did anybody else pick that up? Because I did.
Yeah, there was discussion at the school board level for the last couple of years to study what possibly could be done, et cetera. And they formulated a group of people. Tammy Flanagan's involved with some folks from the Historical Society and some others. And they just really, literally just got together. The article to surplus the building came by petition. That took everyone by surprise.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that there's a movement either way. The study is open to investigate what a restoration project would look like, how much is it gonna cost,
Okay.
et cetera. And that's just in the fledgling state. And on top of it, you get a petitioned article
Doing just the opposite.
to rid the building from that site in one way or another. Either tear it down or move it, or, so. It sounded like from the attorney last night at the public deliberative session of the school, SB2, that petitioned article would be advisory only. It's gonna obviously go to a ballot like everything else in SB2, but the resulting vote, yes or no, would be advisory to the school board. And they discussed further study and coming back. They,
In some kind
the school board put up a warrant article right before number 7, and they reduced it from 50,000 to 25 to establish a fund to deal with the lead situation in the soil.
they already know they have that in the soil.
Well, I haven't, it's been reported, I haven't seen any of the tests, and I'm really confused, because when I was a kid, that building was just as yellow as the school that sat behind it that got tore down to put up the brick building. And that was well after 1979, when you couldn't buy lead paint anymore. I'm not disputing that there might be lead paint underneath, but that red paint on the building can't be lead. But in any event, they've done some tests. There's some permeation in the soil that needs to be addressed, whichever way it goes. And it sounds like immediately they're gonna put up a barricade of some sort to
Keep the kids away.
limit, make sure that nobody goes over and eats the paint, I guess.
I have a little bit of information if that would be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, so as Mike said, there are 2 warrant articles. There is one put out by the school board, as Mike said, for $25,000 to create to create a capital reserve fund and appropriate $25,000 towards it. There was a lot of debate about it, and they decided not to specify lead paint, preserve, destroy. So it's just $25,000 into a capital reserve fund. And then there's the second one that was petitioned to surplus it. And where's the first one? Anyway, so there is a lot of research going on into saving it. The Historical Society has looked at it. They are putting up a 10-foot fence because, as Mike said, there has been lead found. And they're putting up a 10-foot fence around the perimeter of the building to prevent kids from getting to it. So yeah, there's a lot of effort going on into saving it, as you saw on social media. There's a lot of push to save it. I don't know if they'll list who the petitioners were, who put that out there to possibly surplus it. But they weren't there last night to discuss that process, so.
No. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I may add,
Sure.
Bill Dempster, Mr. Brooks talked about a report that was done. It was completed in May 2023 this year, last year, sorry, now years. There was an asbestos abatement analysis done and a lead analysis done. You can find that report on the Madison School Board site. There was contaminant, there was some areas of the building that had non-lead paint on it, but there were interior sections, typically where you would see lead paint, windowsills, molding, that type of stuff. But the contamination, if I remember reading it correctly, I read it a couple times, down about 10 feet. And it has to do with the level of lead that's in there, specified by the state or the regulatory agency or the CPA on having that removed. So you can get that report, John, and take a look at it. It's no asbestos as far as I read in the report, but it's all just new in there.
So Mike, just, because I was confused, I was at the budget meeting when this was discussed in length, and so the petition warrant article to surplus it, the verbiage in it says surplus it, remove it from the property either by sale or but according to the attorney, that's just an advisory to the school board.
Well, it's a statement of the feeling of the voters, what to do. It's advisory because whatever is done is gonna cost money, and it doesn't appropriate any money to do anything.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
You can't just have a blind, I want you to do something. If it costs money, you have to appropriate money to do it.
Okay, thank you. My list is short. We've had, I don't think we've had but one storm that was powder. I think every storm had rain, and then snow, and then rain, and then freezing temperature, and then thawing temperature. I don't know how you do the dirt roads this year. It's until finally we get to real spring. But my comment is that the highway department is doing an amazing job with all of the town roads. Coming from an area where town roads didn't exist, it was all county. I'm pretty impressed with how the towns take care of the citizens. The new dumpsters or the new setups at the transfer station I think are working great. Of course, this is kind of off season, but I haven't had to sit in any kind of line like before some of them were moved and the cardboard. And I applaud the use of the clothing and the sneaker collection bins because so much of that is thrown away. You just can't find places to bring it, and at least it's being used.
So, playing right off of that, I'll get on my soapbox again. So I always talk about saving money, and I'm as cheap as anybody.
Yes, you are.
Right, Josh?
Head of the back door tree.
We're nowhere near any kind of compliance with recycling, to be honest with you. I wish that people would, when you see the signs all over that says see attendant, and a little question mark and see attendant, that means if you're confused, see the attendant. He will point you in the right direction. Please do not throw glass in the compactors. Please don't throw, and I can hear it, bang, bang, and then you hear like 10 bottles of whatever. We can put that in a pit, we can process it, we can use it, it costs no money to ship anywhere. But when you throw it in the compactors, we're paying, and we're paid by the ton, and glass is very, very heavy. So please just ask us, and there's 3 of us up there, and we're kind of spread out, but we can tell you, if you got a problem, we'll tell you where to go.
Okay. Well,
Serious.
Always tell me where to go.
I'm done, Mike?
I'm done.
Linda?
The only thing would be to say budget hearings Thursday night, 7 o'clock at school.
This Thursday. Thank you for reminding me. I'd have been there, you know that. Anything else? No, Michael? Numerous hats.
On the town clerk side, obviously, the filing period expired at 5 PM on Friday. I assembled the order to LHS and sent that out yesterday morning. As of the end of the day today, I haven't seen a proof back yet. Waiting on that. And once I get that approved, the order will be made for the ballots for town voting. The school ballots are completely separate and done by the school clerk. She does her own thing with those, and we're getting ready for the municipal election and have a little bit of a break before primary in September, general in November. Fire department side, it's been pretty quiet. mostly. We've done a lot of out-of-town mutual aid lately, but that's okay. Ice conditions, I haven't been out anywhere, but I've seen some pretty, looks scary to me from where I am, but just, if you're going out on the ice, just be careful, obviously.
There's a couple of houses.
Do what you want to do, but just be careful, because
Talk about
the further offshore you get, the harder it is for us to get to you. And the further offshore you get right now, the closer you're getting to thin ice, because it was open water last week, so.
Well, Winnipesaukee still open.
Yeah, Winnipesaukee just doesn't look, I watched an expose on that, it doesn't look good. I always stay away from the big lake anyway, because you never know, there's so many different currents in there that they can't get ice to form overnight. It just hasn't been cold. So just be careful on the outside. We did have a pretty significant motor snowmobile accident on Sunday. Because of the icy conditions, an incident happened, tried to negotiate a hill and the machine couldn't make it because it didn't have traction, slid backwards, rolled over, and the machine went over the individual, and she was pretty significantly injured. So just be careful. I don't know what's in store for there's no weather in the forecast for the next 10 days that I've seen, so be careful.
The ditching on 113 claimed his first car the other day.
I saw that.
Going on the wrong side of the road, coming uphill on the left, on the downhill side.
I couldn't tell, but it sat there for a couple of days. I couldn't figure out
They were well in there,
why you would go in there and like make no effort to recover your vehicle, but
yeah.
They notified a lady who came and spoke and said it was safe as can be from the state.
Yeah.
well, I don't think we didn't get called to an emergency response, so just it must not have been
Apparently,
hurt.
I saw the car first thing in the morning at 6:30, and it was facing uphill. I kinda looked at it, but it was dark out, and then the next guy came in, translated, "Did you see the car with the lady in it?" I said, "There was someone in the car?" He goes, "Yeah, she was sitting in the car."
Oh, it was,
But someone pulled her out, I guess, I don't know.
You say, hey lady, you can't park there.
No parking.
Anybody?
as far as I know.
Josh?
So while we're at the transfer station, did you see the purchase rec for the covers for the,
Yes,
do you wanna go with that?
I would like to go with that, because the only thing we recycle a lot of is snow and water,
Right,
and that would help save a lot of tonnage. And it's not a major investment.
no.
Dumpster, where are we?
Dumpster God.
Enough to cover 2 dumpsters. I mean, the covers we put over the compactors, it saves a lot of snow and a lot of rain.
Well, we did those last summer, right?
Yeah,
And this is our first winter on the compactors, the MSW. I haven't had a single freeze up where I had to be dug out of their Carberry.
really.
It comes out. This last week, I took one of the bulky waste up, the open top containers, and that had 3 snowstorms in it.
Yeah,
And they had to get dug out, and there was about 6 inches of ice in the bottom of that container. So, it's some waste that we're paying for.
yeah, these
In
were,
addition to me waiting to get the excavator over to dig me out, so I'm hanging around up there a little bit longer.
and we're also, well,
I think it's short money. I think it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll save all that,
Yeah.
like I said, those 3 weeks. And this is the time of year where you don't get a lot of loads anyhow.
And getting the mattresses under cover so they're not soaking up water.
Yeah, we got some tops for that. I would go with that, $3,385.
And then the snow pusher,
Snoop Dogg?
that'd be just for the transfer station for the 416.
416 will handle that? Good.
I wouldn't go any bigger.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And that's if the 416 stays running.
Yeah. It's running good so far.
Yeah?
Uh,
Yeah, so I don't know if that's, we got $500 off that price because it's kind of late in the season now, so it's be a huge time saver.
I think it's much better than trying to use a bucket, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it takes them a lot of
Time.
hours, a lot of time.
And Eric's been helping us out with that.
Yeah.
You know, he's been coming in.
Yeah, he comes out, he came
Last
out,
couple of storms. he's
Yeah.
done that.
so that frees up a guy,
Exactly.
gets a guy out of the road. Yeah,
I'm good with both of them.
$6,450.
Anything else, Josh? Yeah?
So just in the last couple of weeks, so we did have, Dave and Justin went down to Manchester and Concord, looked at the new the trash truck that we're looking at, met your approval, I'm assuming. And then, we looked at the new truck, we should be getting that, the new plow truck should be coming, that we bought last year, a year ago. Next week is the plan to get that here. And then when they come here, they'll pick up that Peterbilt, that, we got that in the garage the other day, and got it running, and it was throwing a code, so we had to get it warmed up and charged up. You notice on the timesheets that we came in, I think it was last Tuesday, the 23rd, whatever that was, we just came in for a couple hours and went home. We just came in, we knew there was 2 storms coming back to back, ice and rain storms. Didn't really want the guys out all day, and then out all night, and then out all night again. And so to cut down on overtime, we came in, we got the plows ready, filled up the sanders, put all the trucks in the garage, and went home, and took a nap, and then came back out the next day for the next 2 days. Plowed snow again on the 26th, plowed snow on Monday the 29th. On the 30th, we pushed back the snow baggers on Forest Pine, Jones Hill, Pine Hill, and North Division and Savory Road. Put fenders on truck 12 with the new body, put new fenders on the thing. You'll see we got an invoice for that. On the 31st, we had to go out and sand all the dirt roads again that morning because the freeze thaw that we were getting and the back roads were just ice all over again. Then we pushed back the bankings on Salter, Old Colony, High Street, Winter Road. We broke the plow on truck 3, had to weld that back together, wrote the town report, cleaned up the garage. We did put sand in the potholes on North Division, that's the worst part of town. And
They
that's all
try.
we can do. And we know they're gonna get pounded out over a weekend, but
We've had a lot of logging up there for
there's
the
a lot
last
of
2
trucks.
weeks.
Yeah,
There's a lot of trucks, a lot of ship trucks going out today,
constantly.
so they're beating the hell out of it.
But just to try to ease that transition, that's the worst part down, the potholes. We put some sand in, smoothed it out, so.
And there's a guy that lives there that gets pretty damn upset about it.
What, the potholes?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you, yeah, it's the worst place in town, is right in front of your house. The potholes.
They-
Stop
get
spinning
no
out of your
favors.
driveway, John.
Huh?
Stop spinning out of your driveway.
I know, yeah, I'm a forester.
We all signed up, so on March 5th, we're all going to, 5 of us, we're gonna go to a flagger course through Primex, so we can all get certified for 3 years in flagging traffic. It's just part of the thing, it'll help our insurance rate, supposedly. I'll give a call to Eversource tomorrow to see about the light at the transfer station.
Yeah,
If they'll do it, I don't know if they'll do that. I think they probably will if we pay for it.
yeah.
They'll put a light anywhere you ask them, as
Well,
long as there's a pole and power.
so I'll ask them, see what they do. And Dave, you can talk about the overhead doors, the repairs.
I called in an outfit out of Meredith, overhead door options, to service the door on this garage and the lower garage. The lower garage is the worst one. A year or so ago, that came crashing down and just missed Dylan. The shafts, the springs, the drums, the end bearing plates all need to be replaced. They're gonna put weather seal around the doors. We have nothing, it's just hot air going out. So they came yesterday, we need to do some new remotes for the trucks, and they brought those and programmed them. They got a list of what they need to do. They'll be back to repair that door and just service this one up here. Needs a little bit of work, but we need to have it, so.
Yeah,
The other one thing I wanted to tell you guys about, and I'm sure you saw the bill, we had to get our pressure washer. It's fairly new, broke about a month ago, so we've been without a pressure washer for a little over a month. And it was $1,500 to get it repaired. We didn't buy that with more than
2 years.
it hasn't been very long, but the water at the garage
Just eats it up.
just eats it up.
Oh, yeah.
The iron and manganese. So we think that's what it is. So I called to see if we can get a filter. There is a filter system on the pressure washer itself, but it's not enough to take it out. So I'm looking to get some sort of filter system to right out of the tank. We changed the tank today. Pressure tank. And then we're gonna try to see if we can get some sort of filters. We called Simply Water. They're gonna test the water. It's like $135 to test the water to see exactly what kind of filters. I called John Hurto, and he said he didn't really want to put filters on it for something that we didn't need, to see exactly what was wrong with the water. We can put the proper filters on it and hopefully save our pressure water.
Oil
Can I
tank.
ask you a question?
Sure.
This, when you were selectman a while back, you talked about treating the roads. You went to a school, whatever, you come back and you told us that the treatment didn't work. On Facebook, I think it was you, Dave, that said you guys were treating the roads,
Well, that's-
and I replied and said, gee, I thought that didn't work. What's going on with that now? I mean,
Could I just make a point of order, not to, you're more than welcome to ask your question, but according to our meeting procedure, all questions from the public needed to be directed this way. Should be no conversation, because there's
Sorry,
been
yeah.
some
okay.
animosity lately, and I just like to keep it this way. Not that that was gonna create any, but just to stay the course.
Yeah, I'll talk about treat the roads. When Dave talks about treating roads, that could be salt, sand, or a mix, salt, sand. That's what treating the roads is, not necessarily brine. Correct?
And the brine system
Did not
I
work.
was just
did not
curious.
work. That was the system that we discovered you needed to be a chemist in order to, you literally did.
Right.
Need to be a chemist in order to make the brine what it needed to be as far as solidity and be able to work, so.
Again, nothing against your question, we have a procedure and it's created some problems in the past, so.
To speak, I'll hit on that real quick. We are using a different proprietary item that you actually spray on the salt. It's a molasses, a sugar thing, and currently we don't have any trucks that are equipped. Now, yeah, we will have one next week and another one the week after that actually spray this molasses on the salt that makes it react at a lower temperature. That's what we use to replace the brine system.
Anything else, guys?
I got one more thing for Dave.
Sure.
Oil tank at the transfer station. Where are we with that?
So, yes, I do have, I don't have that for you tonight, but I do have a poly tank that has secondary containment built right into it. It's, I think it's a 375 gallon tank. So we don't need to have that concrete
Yeah,
secondary containment that's up there now. We'll use that shelter. That tank, I don't hold me to it. I want to say it was $3,600 or $3,695.
yeah, I might wanna go take a look at it, because this one's, we're near full now, we need to be pumped out.
We need it here, so.
You know, good.
Yeah, I think that, because we don't know, we really haven't done any inspections on the tank that's up there now, but the secondary containment has failed, so if that tank fails, we're going to have a problem.
That tank is pretty old,
It's pretty old.
pretty old.
Or we just discontinue taking, we burn it.
But you burn it, so every gallon is saving about $4 or $5.
Yeah.
And I bet you go through a lot of oil in that lower garage.
There's a lot of companies out there that have waste oil tanks. This one has forklift slots built right into it, so we have a set of forks here that we could probably put on the tobacco up there and put it right in the back of the truck, bring it up, lift it off,
Oh, yeah.
get it right back, rather than pumping it off.
That it?
I'm done. Still report.
Parks and Rec.
Hello.
Hi.
We have, basketball's been awesome, it's been so much fun. We just had a co-ed game last night, our very first one, and it was a blast. Kids had fun, parents loved watching it. What's our record? I have no idea what our record is.
Girls are
right now.
5 and 2.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
really good, yeah,
Dang, you bring
Yeah.
some kids in from somewhere.
yeah.
What sport is this? I'm sorry.
Basketball.
Girls
Basketball.
basketball.
Basketball?
Yes.
The
Boys,
boys-
girls, co-ed?
Well, if you consider the co-ed game, the girls are 7 and 2, so we played 2 co-ed games last night.
Yeah,
And the boys are 2 and 7.
yeah,
But they're still very much in it.
yes.
They wanna play, they're having
Bragging
fun.
rights there.
Yes, right. Our next big event is Trivia Night, Friday night, February 9th. It's from 7 to 9. It's at the Village Store, right in town. It was a blast the last time we did it, about a month ago, a little over a month ago. So they actually asked us to do it again. You can bring an appetizer to share, bring beverages of your choice. We're gonna have 50-50, $5 to play,
Suggested donation.
suggested donation. Yeah, so that'll be fun. The next event after that will be the Extravaganza, which is our Easter event. It was a lot of fun last year, so we will be redoing that again this year. We're looking for donations, we're looking for volunteers to help. But it will be a pancake breakfast, coffee, sausage, bacon, good stuff. And then of course egg hunt. That is March 30th, Saturday, so it's the day before Easter this year. Easter is March 31st. Yeah. And that will be 9:30 to 11:30 at the school. That's all I have for now.
Bob?
Not a whole lot going on this past few weeks. We've been busy with the snowstorms. We did our town report as well. We submitted the stats for the year, for the last year. It was pretty busy. We had over 500 and some odd motor vehicle stops, over 50 arrests, a whole bunch of criminal activity reported, as well as our officers committed to over 3,500 hours in on-call time, which is quite a bit. The other biggest thing is, as the board of selectmen know, I am retiring this year. I will be done effective no later, on a date not to exceed August 31st.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's been in the works for some time now, so.
20 years?
22,
No, is that something?
yeah, plenty. So, looking forward to it.
Will Lieutenant Hayford be elevated?
That's the idea, yes.
Great guy. Good,
He very much is.
good cop.
Yes, he is. That's it.
Thank you. Anything else? Yep.
Hi, I'm sorry, I guess I missed the beginning of the meeting, I apologize. Was the public hearing scheduled for the RSA 41A-C?
For our next meeting
Yep.
4:50.
at
50.
4:50, at 4:50 in the afternoon on the 20th.
450? Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other business, we have signature items.
Thank you.
agreement with, with Attorney Mayor to help us at town meeting, because put out this town's budget. That just needs one.
This one's open. And it is 6:12, and call for an adjournment. Motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Oh,